Now it's time from the ESPN 1240 Studio One-on-One. One-on-One is brought to you by Hatch Graphics. For all your promotional needs, call Brandon at Hatch Graphics.
He's been with us for 3 years.
Well, no, we were listening to the second show.
Yeah, in which we're going to figure out the best way to put that up in segments on the internet. The second show, and Shenandoah Signs and Promotions.
Been here all along.
Yep, thanks a lot, B. Thanks a lot, Brandon. If you need something made, signs, promotional items, go see B. Hatch.
Or like Langdon likes to say, stickers of bump.
Stickers of bump, whatever Langdon means by that.
Bumper stickers.
All right, let's do a little one-on-one.
All right, Jarrett. I saw you at VSDB last week in the paper during the clinic. How was that?
It was a lot of fun. Coinciding with basketball season starting and YMCA basketball season, I did 3 clinics last week. My dad and I went over to VSDB. Slim Height, who you've known Slim as long as I have, forever and ever. Slim is the athletic director at VSDB. He and my dad have been friends for years and years. And we began doing clinics a few years ago for VSDB. It's kind of neat because, those kids there, they're coming from all over the state. In a lot of cases, they're spending elementary school, junior high, and high school right there at VSDB. So some of the kids that we had in our clinics 4 and 5 years ago are now juniors and seniors. We went over and did a clinic with their girls' team and with their boys' team. And it's amazing. We've played VSDB a few years ago. We've done clinics in the summertime. It's so interesting to teach, and I know no sign language. I know you've had some training with being a special ed teacher. I have no idea, and I'm reminded then each time we go back over of certain signs. But it's amazing trying to teach with an interpreter and how good the interpreters are to watch them. And something, basketball is basketball to a kid with hearing, to a kid without hearing. It's pretty neat. It's a lot of fun, and really happy that VSDB wants us to come over and do that, and VSDB is great. They let us use the gym and things for the YMCA, so a lot of fun and very interesting way. It's a different way of teaching basketball. Usually you want immediate response and you're kind of waiting, but a lot of fun. And the newsleader did a nice article on the clinic. Chris, do you have any odd stories?
All right, so this week it's about this what happened in this Indonesian province. Okay. It's predominantly Muslim, okay?
Right. Actually, Indonesia is the largest Muslim country in the world.
Okay. So anyways, they passed a controversial, I would say, law back in September allowing for adulterers to be stoned to death. I mean, that's a little bit controversial.
Right.
All right. Now they want to introduce regulation forcing women to wear Muslim dress, which that could come into effect in December. Quote, trousers are allowed as long as the woman also wears a long skirt down to her ankles. So you can wear pants.
You can wear some Jordache jeans. You just need to have a dress over it.
As long as it comes to the ankles, what's the matter? All right. So the government, just to make sure, and this reminds me a lot of like what the high schools have to do, they have ordered 7,000 skirts to be set aside for women who need, you need to put a skirt on. Here's one. You see that all the time in the high school. You got to turn your shirt inside out because of what it says, or
right.
Whatever it is. But the funny part about this article, the odd part about this article was the whole article was about them wearing skirts, not the fact that they can be stoned to death for adultery.
Right.
So it's like pretty odd to me.
That's awful.
You didn't have anything to say.
Did
you think we would make it 3 years, Jarrett?
No. I mean, I don't know.
Like, are you talking about you and I making it, or like
we've
the
made
show?
The show. Yeah, I figured you and I would make it for 3 years. We've been doing this for 3 years. Think about that.
I
okay, wow. All right, now, too bad we can't do like
hey kids,
the doodly-doo.
Hey guys, big gulps.
All right.
We
started out doing this. We joked around for years, back in the mid-'90s. Hey, we ought to get a radio show. Gary gave us a chance, Gary Ratcliffe, the owner of the station. We wouldn't be here probably if we hadn't gotten that opportunity. But what would we do without Cass?
I agree.
Cass Johnson kept us on the air, kept our rear ends to the fire when we weren't doing what we needed to do, fixed everything, helped us out, showed us. Think about the equipment we had. This board, this nice shiny new board, we didn't get that when we first started out.
There's always in every position you have, there's always somebody who's behind the scenes and really runs the place. Cass runs this place.
Right.
They would be lost without Cass.
Right. And we
would be
her.
lost without her.
And stand up there, Chris. Show them how the microphone. Show them how much space we had summer. We did the show in that space.
Yes.
in and out, in and out.
With
Passing
one
the
mic, we stood the mic up and had to talk back and
It
forth.
was like an old rap concert. We just passed the mic back and forth. The blog's been fun. That's been kind of neat. We got people signing up. We have people around the world, different parts. I didn't think we'd be on for 3 years. I never thought about it. As I said last year, I was just trying to get to the next show.
That's all it was.
And it's been a while since I've knocked anything off or broken anything, so things are going pretty well. Chris, let me ask you, anything different since we started in 2006?
All right, so I started looking at some different stats, okay, and different things. All right, the Dow 3 years ago at this point was at 12,000. Today it closed about 9,800. All right?
Is that our fault?
Milk? What was the price of milk? $1.99.
Yeah.
Now it's about $3.39. Gas was at $2.30. It was higher back then. Bread was $1.50. Now it's $2.79. The deficit was at $247 billion. Now it's at $1.5 trillion.
Okay.
The number one movie was Departed. The number one athlete, as far as pay, was Tiger, of course,
Right.
$87 million. The number one movie star, Tom Cruise, at $67 million. That's changed a little bit. Remember, steroids were just talked about. There was no Mitchell report.
Right.
There was no 104 tested positive to
Right.
be leaked. There was
It
none
was,
of
it
that.
was Jose Canseco's crazy,
Right.
and Mark McGuire may have done something to make himself big,
And look what's happened in 3 years. People know that all these guys aren't there.
and everybody
The-
stopped. Too.
The best in college football, the best quarterback was Troy Smith.
Who?
Yeah, the best running back was Darren McFadden. And the best wide receiver pitches for the Cubs now,
That's kind of weird.
Jeff Samardzija. All right, the best, Brett Favre played for the Packers. Mark Teixeira played for the Rangers. CeCe Sabathia played for the Indians. Kevin Garnett played for the Timberwolves. And LeBron and Tiger had just finished their second cycle of steroids.
I
Can
don't
you
know
believe
about
all
that.
that happened 3 years
I don't
ago?
like that. That last one's a dig at me.
What?
Do you think that we're responsible? I've never
For
looked
the
at
Dow
the
tanking?
Yeah, I never knew that. Or do you maybe think people don't know?
I don't know that we're responsible for the Dow tanking, but I think we have a little bit to do with the deficit.
Okay.
Now that it's at $1.5 trillion.
Yeah. We spent all the money in the studio.
I think so. Look at all the. I mean,
Look at all the
do you know-
accoutrements.
people have no idea how much pegboard cost.
Right, and it's good pegboard too. It's not low quality pegboard. But the square pegs don't
It's the
fit.
pegboard and the sanitizer. That's what.
The square pegs don't fit in the round holes though.
Jarrett, are you going to watch the Len Bias documentary tonight?
All right. Yeah, it's actually. Have you seen any of these 30-30?
Yes, I watched the Muhammad Ali one.
All right, I have tried to catch them. The whole idea about this is instead of ESPN gloating on themselves and producing their own thing, they contracted it out. Here's what we want to do. Here's a camera. Kyle, go film us something. All right, he's a young, aspiring documentary maker. He might be on ESPN 35, or maybe he'll be. We'll take him to stardom. June 19th, 1986.
How come he laughed at that?
Because he knows what we're doing. We're Wayne's World meets radio. June 19th, 1986, Len Bias dies. Drug overdose from cocaine. Len Bias has been dead longer than he lived. Kids today, the kids we're teaching, I don't think they even have an idea who Len Bias is. The movie's called Without Bias, and it's a look at the Len Bias death. The number one draft pick of the Celtics, he dies less than 48 hours after being picked by Red Auerbach. We think about Lefty Driesell, the coach at Maryland. He's run out of town. There's a shakeup in Maryland. Even Bobby Ross, the football coach, had nothing to do with any of that. He left. The athletic department was in shambles. Harsh sentences for drug dealers, known as Len Bias laws. Probably the reason I've never done drugs. Len Bias, a guy that had everything. Why would you risk it? And there was this dilemma. Was he a one-time drug user that succumbed, or was he a constant user that kept everything hidden? In the fallout with everything, some of the players on the team, Terry Long, David Gregg, they were suspended from school. Mark Tribble, do you remember that name? That's the guy that was, his friend, but not on the team, but kind of in and around, that gave him drugs. One of the saddest things ever. If you think about, he made a choice.
Right.
But as a kid, you see that. And so I'm definitely going to try to watch this. I think it's, it's something that's very indelible in my mind from being a kid.
I was watching Price is Right.
Really?
I was watching The Price is Right, and they broke in. It's on the CBS channel out of Washington.
Right.
They broke in, breaking news, and they said it. I remember exactly where I was.
Yeah.